The book is widely known and it's a standard work and it's a must for all pediatric neurologists or pediatric neurologists in training. Why was it so important to transform the content of this book to a web-based course?
Well, it's a new and important way of learning. It's become, much more feasible, obviously, with all the developments in new media. And I think that different readers or users will prefer the different formats. And I think that they also complement each other. So you may find it handy to have a book that the content of which is also the content of an online course that you've completed. The online course is something that's been developed very much together with the European Pediatric Neurology Society. Who do you think the course is well suited to?
EPNS thinks that not only young people need teaching, but that there is a role for continuous teaching. So the web-based course would be very suitable for trainees in pediatric neurology or pediatric neurologists who are starting to find their way in the field, but also for more senior colleagues who want to refresh their knowledge or who are working in a very very small fields of pediatric neurology, for example, neuromuscular clinics or epileptology, who want to refresh their general knowledge. And I think such a course, following such a course together in pediatric neurology department is a very good basis for discussion about pediatric neurology in general.
When you talk about pediatric neurology, I guess different countries use slightly different labels, but you're really just talking about any doctor who's involved in assessing and managing neurological problems in a fairly broad sense in children.
I think it could be pediatric neurologists, but of course also there are also neurologists or pediatricians in general who take care of children with pediatric neurological problems. So they really may be interested in following modules or the whole course. I think it would be very good that their level of knowledge and basic knowledge is ameliorated. So that's also one of the nice things of this web-based course. Yes. What are the best things you learned from such a course in comparison to the book?
Well, I think the course should perhaps push you to ask yourself more questions about the material. You've got the reflective activities, which essentially ask you to consider how the material applies to your situation. So, and then you're also in a good position with, for example, some of the hyperlinks in there to do some further reading based on those issues, asking yourself those questions about how it applies to your practice. So, for example, if you're wondering about how to interpret a genetic report and what is it that you will or find out and what is it that you might miss from a certain kind of genetic investigation, rather than just assuming that you've done the genetic test, therefore if there's a genetic issue you'll have addressed it, because that is very much not the case. That would be one kind of example. Or if you've got a child with a suspected stroke and you're wondering about the signal changes at different times in relation to the event, you'll find it's all in there, tabulated and laid out very clearly. Or if you're wondering about whether a lumbar puncture is absolutely necessary, whether or not there's a contraindication to lumbar puncture, in a child with a fever in front of you, then you'll find, firstly, that the material in the modules is very relevant, and secondly, that both the questions at the end of the chapter and also the reflective questions within the chapter will help you to, and to some extent, push you to think it through and how it applies to your practice.
But really reinforces learning, your pediatric neurology